Hey everyone, we're Mr. Thrive and Survive. You know what? You people that believe in the globe model and science, you freaking amaze me. You really freaking amaze me. It is just amazing how much cognitive dissonance people will do to themselves. And I got to get that video up that shows why it happens and why people do that to themselves just so they can conform and keep to their previously held belief systems. It's really incredible. Look at this. Does that look like a freaking circle to you? This is the first television picture from space, from the Tyros satellite, April 1st, 1960. People should have realized it way back then. This is as close as I can get a circle to fit this thing, right here. You see how off the screen it is? See how it's got a nice pot belly down here, a nice little bulge coming down? Maybe this is the pear shape that Gross talks about. Well, that'd be okay, except for all the images after that showed a perfect sphere. Here's a perfect sphere. I mean, you people freaking amaze me. You really do. It's about as best as you can get right there. Unbelievable.
Unbelievable. All right, not to burst Mr. Thrive and Survive's bubble here, but the man can't draw a circle. You know, if he would just make his circle a little bit bigger and make it an actual circle instead of an oval, he would see that it fits a globe just fine. There's a little bit of a shadow in the lower left quadrant, but if we could see the entire globe here instead of just a section of it, we would probably see that it's not a full circle, that it's got a shadowed section in that lower area.
That's not all, though. Let's continue with the questions here. Mostly this is me asking you questions in this video. There's just a couple things I have to point out first. Here's another one. This absolutely is like, I don't know. You're going to have to, here's my question here. How can you justify the difference in North America between two different pictures from space from NASA? Earth the exact same size. Look at the size of North America here. Freaking humongous. And yeah, we all know most Americans need to go on a diet, but I didn't know the continent did.
And speaking of diets, has anybody ever gotten a Big Mac that actually looks like the advertisement? I mean, I don't think I have. Every time I've ordered a Big Mac, you open a box, it looks like shit, right? But do Big Macs still exist? Yes, they still exist. As far as Mr. Thrive and Survive's complaints about the blue marble go, I'm not going to really address these because they've been pretty thoroughly covered in an article by Metabunk, and I'll put a link to in the description box to this article. But it's a really interesting article, and they talk about the NASA's photographs of the globe over time and how they've changed or how they appear to change. And the gist of it is Mr. Thrive and Survive and others like him have issues with certain photographs such as this one, which are low altitude photographs. This photograph was taken at 400 or 500 miles, something like that. And so the problem is that at that altitude, you're not seeing all the way, you're not seeing very far around the limb of the curvature of the Earth. And so because you're not seeing as much of the Earth, everything that you see on the Earth looks bigger. If you were further away, like in some of the other photographs, then you'd see more around the edges of the Earth, and everything on the Earth will look smaller. And if that sounds like a lame excuse, in this article, somebody has actually taken a physical globe and taken photographs of it. I mean, this is a globe that you buy at Walmart, right? Somebody took it and they photographed North America going left to right here at increasing distance. And the further away you go from the globe, the smaller North America looks, because again, you're seeing more around the curvature of that globe. And there's an example here of North America, and further down in the article, somebody did the same thing with Australia. I guess probably the same guy because it looks like the same globe. But yeah, get further away and you see more globe and everything is smaller. Shazam. So it's not a big deal. Now, if you ask me for my personal opinion, I mean, do I like these photographs of the Earth where North America looks obscenely large? No, I kind of think they look like shit. I would rather see a globe that's taken at a reasonable distance away so that everything looks in proportion. But hey, you know, it's a photograph, and if you don't like it, move on to another photograph. It's not the end of the freaking world, you know. You don't have to get fixated on something like this.
But everything science tells us is the truth, Rich. Inclination 5 1/4 degrees. That's the most the moon is ever inclined above, supposedly where the Earth is inclined to the sun. Actual tilt to orbit 6.68 degrees. What do? You add these two numbers together. The farthest it's off one way and the actual tilt to orbit. So the most they could ever be off from a true east-west inclination to the Earth would be 11.82 degrees. At the most, 11.82 degrees.
All right, I'm going to mute Mr. Pissed Off here for a moment. You know, if I were a magician, I think I would perform entirely to flat Earth audiences, because these people will buy any fucking thing. I think you could get up in front of a bunch of flat earthers and drop an object into a brown paper bag, and they would think it disappeared. That's how gullible these people are. Mr. Thrive and Survive goes into these lengthy calculations about the inclination of the Earth and the moon and various things, which I didn't really pay any attention to, because his fundamental assumption seems to be that up is north, and that there is somehow this magical universal north, that no matter where you go, up is north. All right, so let's just fast forward to the conclusions, and then there's something I'd like to point out to Mr. Thrive and Survive here, should he happen to watch this video.
So here's a picture called Earth, called First View. First View. With the lunar surface under your feet. I don't care where you are on the moon. The moon's lit though. How can the Earth be the orientation of the Earth be north-south lit dark? How can that be? The moon's lit up. How can that be if the lunar surface is under there? Now, in case you forgot, let's switch over to this. Remember this? Earthrise. This is from Apollo 8, just above the lunar surface, mapping out where Apollo 11 was going to land on the moon, all right? Which was on the front half of the moon. So with the moon under the feet, how do we have a north half lit Earth, dark half bottom? How is that possible in the globe model? How is that possible with this? That's my question for you. How is that possible on this model? I'll look forward to your answers.
All right, here comes my answer, Mr. Thrive and Survive. Get ready. There it goes. There it goes. There it goes. Ta-da!
Shazam!
Hey, you want to see that trick again, Mr. Thrive and Survive? Huh? Do you? You want to see it again? There it goes. Don't get too dizzy. Shazam! And now, for my next trick, I would like to make a potato disappear in a brown paper bag. All right, man, don't be so pissed off, Mr. Thrive and Survive. You're going to have an aneurysm or something. Lighten the fuck up.